Ta-da.
So, not to put any pressure, but wouldst thou like to live deliciously?
Obviously. I think there's only one answer here.
He's out here talking about butter and dresses. Sign me up.
I know.
If a goat starts whispering to me about butter, I am on board.
That's the first thing out of his mouth. Butter? I'm sold. Yeah, sure, fine.
Also, it's like the Puritan times. I bet this bitch has never had butter.
Oh no. Maybe once she was in England, but that's about it.
Yeah,
they had glass in their house.
Whoa. But anyways, welcome back to The Swamp. The Swamp is an acronym.
Stands for some whack-ass movie podcasting.
And we have a stunning, amazing, qualified, talented, and beautiful guest here with us today, the host of the amazing Scopophilia podcast, Becky Teller. Woo!
Oh, I see. Just coming on here and flattering me.
Yes. Tell us a little bit about your show. Our podcasts are pretty similar, and we were just on your show this past week. A couple days ago, our episode about The Favorite came out, and so you were so gracious as to grace our presence once again for our A24 month.
No, 100%. So my podcast is Scopophilia, obviously. That's what you said. And it's basically I invite people on to come and talk about their favorite movie or a movie that has moved them or affected them in some way. And if you can't think of anything else, I usually say like a movie you can talk about for an hour, which usually does the ticket. And it's been like a passion project of mine. I needed an outlet to talk about movies, and this was the best way. And so that's essentially my deal. And so, of course, when we finished our episode recording and you guys were like, hey, do you want to come back? I was like, yes.
We're so happy to have you.
I'm happy to be here. It's Sunday, it's sunny, and we're talking spooky things, so I'm here. I'm about it.
Where are you that it's sunny? It's not sunny where I am.
It's sunny where I am.
We are in South Jersey. We've had a lot of high winds recently, and so now the sun is like out, and there are no clouds. So it's been a different type of weather recently.
A sunny day for the grayest movie ever made.
I know.
They are dealing with some New England ass weather in this film.
Like there are certainly parts of this movie that are hard to watch, but for me, I think the most difficult thing to deal with is the color palette of this movie because it's all gray.
Gray.
Nothing else.
Gray.
Maybe a beige
It's
if
like
you're
how,
lucky.
Right, it's how The Social Network is so brown. This movie is gray. This is a gray film. Except for you get that one little blood splat at the end, and we're like, oh, a nice little touch of color to round off the film. But so when we asked you, we were like, we're doing A24 April immediately. You were like, no question. I always have to say like the VVitch because I'm just an asshole. And I'm like, if you're going to do your marketing with 2 V's, I'm not going to call your movie The Witch. I will be calling it The VVitch.
Absolutely.
Because that is what you are serving to me.
Yes.
But like what's your like personal attachment history with this movie? Like why were you so psyched to talk about it?
So it's actually kind of interesting because I went to film school basically after the movie had come out, and I was going back for like a second undergrad degree at the time, and I had this teacher who I cannot remember his name or else I'd give him credit, but he was like raving about this movie, and I was like, it's a horror movie, I don't care, I don't watch horror movies. And then maybe 2 or 3 years later I actually watched it because I was like, you know what, it's Halloween, I'll do something scary, like, you know, just for fun, even though I hate scary movies, but I'm at work, so it'll be fine. And I ended up watching it and like being engrossed in it, and I think it was kind of a nice gateway into horror, like as a genre, because it is scary, but it's not like jump in your face, gory, scary. It's all like psychological, make you think about puritanical witchcraft kind of scary. And that, I don't know, that kind of speaks to me. So like, ever since then, I'm like, yeah, I am a spooky bitch. I am a scary lady. That is who I want to be. Absolutely. So
I am that very witch.
yes.
Yes. But I had actually never seen this movie. We are Lighthouse stans on this podcast.
Very nice.
So obviously Robert Eggers, it's a yes from me. But I'd never seen this. Really, my only impression was I remember seeing the trailer like a trillion times in 2015 when it came out. And it was like her playing peekaboo with the baby, and then the baby goes missing. And that was like the whole trailer, basically. And I remember being like, nope, not for me. No, thank you. I'm all set with that. Like, colonial-ass baby snatching movie. No, thank you. And this was very much, like, during that time period where, like, the Insidious films and, like, Annabelle, that whole, like, horror genre, I don't really fuck with that. Like you said, like, jump scares and, like, that. And I honestly just kind of lumped this in with that. I'm like, baby snatching Puritan jump scare movie, not for me. And so I didn't even really know that this was, like, an A24 artsy ass thing until like pretty recently when I associated like, oh, this is the Lighthouse guy.
Right.
Huh. But I just never got around to it. But I'm really glad that you made me watch it through the powers that be of this podcast, because it was giving very like Crucible. Like, and I hadn't watched that since like high school, so you need a little dose of New England Puritanism.
Puritanism?
Puritanism?
The Pilgrims.
Really? Yeah, back to my roots, because Emily and I are both from Massachusetts, so I'm like, is this my backyard?
Yeah, they filmed this at Old Sturbridge Village.
Oh my god, he's from New Hampshire.
That makes sense.
Robert Eggers is from New Hampshire, and he went to Plymouth Plantation like a bunch of times to like gain like inspiration for set design for the movie. And Plymouth Plantation is obviously in Plymouth, Mass, and it's like a recreation of the first settlement in America or whatever. Right. And it's fucking boring, but we have one in our town too, which is like a knockoff version, and it's the 1830s, so it's like a little more civilized. So there's like blacksmiths and like cows and shit, but it's like acres and acres of land that you can just like go. It's like a live action museum where you can like walk around old houses and shit. It's very quintessential New England. Like people are churning butter and shit. But when I tell people I'm from Sturbridge, they're like, oh, so you like have cows and churn butter and wear a bonnet? And I'm like, yes, yeah, obviously,
100%.
But every year of our life, we were subject to field trips to both Sturbridge Village and Plymouth Plantation. Like, I have seen too much colonial shit. I am over it. The bonnets. I went to summer camp there where we had to like wear the petticoats and the bonnets and shit. And we had to like walk around with baskets. I was like, my parents were paying for me to like act primitive. No. They were like basically child laboring us. They were like, yeah, you guys can milk the cows. It'll be so fun.
No, thank you.
So they're selling it in the country store later.
It's like not FDA approved.
No, 100%. I live about 30 minutes outside of Philadelphia. So a lot of field trips to the beginning of government areas.
Yeah.
So,
the Liberty
yes,
Bell.
absolutely. So I'm familiar with that, but yours sounds like it's on a whole other level.
It is very like bonnets and just chopping wood. People are just always chopping wood. Like this
Same
man,
thing as William.
The masculine urge to chop wood.
Oh man,
is my description of this film. If I'm gonna take away anything, it's like you could chill. Like once you have a little stack, you're like you can stop.
Right.
It doesn't need to be the height of your house, because that's gonna end up biting you.
Exactly. It'll be the end of you.
Literally.
But do we want to give like a short and sweet recap? What is the plot? I mean, other than baby snatching and wood squishing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Becky, do you want to just do synopsis for if you haven't seen the VVitch, go watch the VVitch. It's like only 90 minutes.
Hour 30.
We love a
100%.
90-minute film on this pod. But if you're a listener who hasn't seen it.
Yeah, for sure. So the VVitch, or if you look it up on Amazon Prime, The Witch, is about a New England family who has just come to America or has been there for a little bit of time. And basically the dad gets into an argument with the town and it's like, well, then I'm gonna dip and take my family. So they go out into like the woods and the countryside and they try to make it on their own. Little do they know their neighbor is a witch who lives in the woods in like a moss-covered cabin and is living her best life, let's be honest. And, Cottage core, 100%. She is living her best life. And she basically just kind of destroys their family. And yeah, everything that happens is because of that kind of dynamic of having a neighbor who's a witch.
And also, like, sinning and being against God. And also, like, the family goat happens to be Satan.
Right.
Like, just, you know, coincidentally. Right? They have a huge black goat named Black Phillip who is speaking in tongues to the children. And they're like, we're not going to worry about it. That's just good old Black Phillip with his antics. What a silly goat. And then they just move on from it. No, I know a cursed animal when I see one.
Literally a family who is so much into like praying and, you know, confessing their sins at every minute of every day doesn't find it concerning that their two young children are singing songs about a goat called Black Phillip who is eating lions and taming the world. Like, I feel like that would be a concern for these people, but it's not.
Like, those two kids are so silly with their... If you're a child singing a nursery rhyme in any sort of haunting tone, cursed. If you're in any sort of historical period piece, if you are a child singing, get that away
that's
from
Hansel
me.
And Gretel.
Bad. No, thank you.
Those two twins, oh my god. But no, my favorite thing about this movie is that I love how Amazon has like the little like trivia on the side and everything like that. But my favorite thing is that the goat that played Black Phillip really went method because they were like, yeah, he was
a nuisance,
terrible to work with. That goat was awful to work with.
Yeah, they're like all the other animals, great.
The rabbit was the star. Black Phillip, a menace.
I think I also saw in the little trivia side that one scene. And not when he gets squished by the wood, but like much earlier in the film when the dad has that little like physical altercation with the goat. That was not the script. That goat just started acting up and they're like, we'll keep it in. This is a little foreshadowing, We'll keep in the goat fight.
Right?
Oh my god, so good, so good. No, I don't know the actor's name. I wrote it down somewhere, but and like as much as like Anya Taylor-Joy gets so much praise for this movie, and she was good, and she like obviously she's an outstanding actress. The actor that played William, I think, stole the entire show.
I also don't know. Is it like Ralph Ineson?
Yeah.
I'm probably butchering it now, but I know he's in Game of Thrones, and the mom is also in Game of Thrones. And I remember being like, they get typecasted for having historical ass faces.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, these are some Puritan ass looking people if I've ever seen them. The kids up through the parents, except Anya Taylor-Joy looks like the girl with the pearl earrings. She looks like she's from a fucking Baroque painting that she should be like in a corset with like her beautiful, like she's Emma to me. Like that is the period in which her face so fits. So just seeing this like boring ass American Girl doll ass looking family with then Anya Taylor-Joy's like stunning features. I'm like, she did not come from them. Like no. Like
she was meant to be a witch.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, right. But like the two parents, I'm like, damn, I've never seen more colonial ass looking people.
No, 100%.
Than those two.
Well, and it's so funny that you say William really stole the show for you, because this time watching it through, I think the mom really stole it for me. And I think I understood, because she was pretty much the villain for me the first time I watched it. I was like, this lady's a bitch. There's no way. Like, there's nothing redeeming about her. And then watching it this time, I think I got her perspective a little bit more. So she really, like, kind of overshadowed everybody for me by the end of it. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah. If there's one thing that Kate Dickey's going to do is that she's going to play crazy so well.
Yeah, right. I so feel you, because I felt bad for her. I was like, that poor mom, her baby got snatched, and it's like 2 days later, and she's crying, and they're like, ugh, she's still crying about baby Sam. And I'm like, it's been not even 48 hours. The dad's like, we gotta just give it up. He's eaten by wolves, if anything. It's over. And then, like, the mom is crying, and they're all like, oh, God, mom's crying about the dead baby again. Like, I'm like, Jesus.
It's very Puritan.
Which, yeah, I felt bad for her. Like, all her kids are just, like, dropping dead, and they're like, this bitch, huh?
Right.
No, I think this movie for me is all about, what is it, like oldest child syndrome for Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my, she fully got gaslit into being a witch.
Oh, yeah.
Well, honestly, by the end, what are her choices? Her whole
Nothing.
family's dead. He's like, come live deliciously.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are your options? The dry land that does not provide crops and your empty house with your dead family, or like you're gonna go ball out with some witches in the woods, like seems like an obvious choice to
Absolutely.
me. He's offering butter. He's offering dresses. No
Say
brainer.
less.
Say less. 100%. Well, and her third option is like going back to the village, and it's like, what is she gonna say? Oh, my whole
She's gonna get
family is
killed.
dead? Like,
That was the thing that is always like so crazy to me, and that like I get reminded of whenever I watch this movie, is that how serious being called a witch was, and how being accused a witch was. Because all you need is one person to say it, and then you're fucked.
oh, yeah.
Like they had those. There was 2 8-year-olds that accused her, and her dad was like, "Yeah, there might be something there."
But then she's like, they talk to the goat, and he's like, you all get boarded up. No questions. Like the rest of the kids are drop dead. It's just a
I'm done with all of you.
Right.
yeah. It's a
Yeah.
wash.
It's funny because I think her younger siblings really become the villain by the end of it, because obviously they're young, so like her saying, yeah, I'm the witch of the wood, and them believing her, like that tracks. But then the fact that they like kind of played pretend that they were under like demonic possession,
Right?
I'm sorry, they need to be disciplined, like for sure, throughout this whole movie. Like they are brats, and I cannot. By the end of it, I was like, we need a little bit of puritanical discipline here.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I feel like Caleb was getting all of it, because Caleb, the dad, was like, we gotta go, like, hunt in the woods against your mother's wishes, which is, like, already kind of a testy subject. And when he's like, hey, if the baby was a sinner, am I a sinner? And the dad was just, like, laying it on thick, being like, if you're gonna go to hell, then you're gonna go to hell. If you wanna fuck your sister, you're gonna go to hell. If you're gonna stare at her tits, you're gonna go to, I mean, the dad, he doesn't say that, but the whole time he is getting, like, yeah, he is getting bullied into thinking he's a sinner, and then the apple in the mouth, that whole moment. And I'm like, you know who needs to be, this is Mercy and Jonas need a little punishment for their sins.
Yeah, oh my god.
No, for sure.
The him staring at Anya Taylor-Joy's titties the entire movie. I couldn't take it. And I was sitting there, I was like, dude, so he runs through, he basically into his demise. He's running through the woods for a rabbit, which is insane to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, just let it go. No chance in France you're getting that. And then for some titties, that's it. All he needs to see once is some witch titties, and he's like, yep. That's it.
Honestly, the yassified witch, to me, worth it.
You're like, I would also.
She got that baby oil. She wrung out that baby of its youth. She got that BBL potion, and she just, I was like, honestly, if I was Caleb, I would also risk it all for this baddie in the woods, because what else is back home?
I mean, fair
Your
enough.
sister? Your hot sister?
She got that baby oil. Stop.
That was the most, that's like one of those things, like this movie's not like particularly gruesome like we talked about. It's very much it sort of like leans into like the psychological thriller sort of thing instead of like horror. But I forgot entirely, because this was the second time I watched this movie. I forgot entirely about that one scene where she's like
Mashes. She mashes
She's
that
mortar
baby.
and pestling that infant. She's making guac with him. Like it's so foul. And like the sound design, mind you, is just crunch. Just crunching away. It was so disgusting. I had to like get up and walk away from my computer for a minute.
That's fair. Well, and it's,
Mind you, I did end up making avocado toast for myself midway through this movie.
Oh my god.
That was a lot to deal with.
Yeah, no, and I think for me, it's not the fact that it's crunching. It's the wet sound. It's that wet sound the whole time, and it's just like you can piece together the clues of like, oh, this is what she did with that baby that was just on the screen, but it doesn't make it any better. Like they could have cut to somewhere else, or like just straight to her lotioning up her skin, but they did like a solid 3 minutes of that mashing wet sound.
Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to my ASMR channel. Today we'll be making a baby potion. Yes. ASMR beauty tutorial combined is what I was getting from the VVitch. Also, this movie reminded me that we do not see on-screen infant death.
No.
Ever in movies. She was like trickling her witchy hand down and just like, I think she begins with the dick. Strong choice visually, because it's like then we get the baby mashing, but you're first you're gonna, I guess you need the baby penis for the potion. I guess the secret ingredient, you can't find that at the market. But yeah, I was so jarred. I was like, oh, when's the last time I had to watch a baby get killed on screen?
Like, never. I could not.
Never.
Nothing comes to the top of my head. Robert Eggers dared to do what no one else would.
Yeah.
But also, they're like, he wasn't baptized, so it's not a big deal. And it's like, somehow it's the dad's fault because, like, of some... I hate that this movie opens with them getting kicked out of the village for something we never learned.
Yes.
It's just some sort of, like, religious dispute. They're like, oh, Jesus says you gotta get out of here, and he's like, fine. Something to do with, like, pride, I think, or something, but it's very vague, and they never really... I'm like, what did he do? Did he just say something?
I think he... like thought that the town was like straying from godliness, sort of thing. That's the impression that I got from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, something
I
like
don't know.
that.
Like they were holier than like the rest of the town, sort of thing. Like they were more devout or some shit like that. I'm like, yeah, look where that got you.
Yeah.
This was the part of the movie that I was like, oh, I'm gonna need subtitles, because even though this is fully in English, I don't understand a goddamn word that's coming out of anyone's mouth.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite thing was Anya Taylor-Joy's face when they're getting kicked out, and you can see she's like, fuck.
She's fucking pissed.
No more butter?
No, she legitimately finds this to be a terrible plan. Literally from like the first moment of this movie that you see her on screen. She's like, this is a terrible idea. Just like suck it up and let's stay here. And then throughout the rest of the movie, she's like, this was a terrible plan. This is a terrible idea. Why are we even here?
This movie reminds me of, have you ever been like on a family vacation when everyone's just kind of like on their bullshit and nothing seems to go right? Like every single little thing, you go already at the airport, your mom and your dad are pissed. They're sitting there. Someone forgot their bathing suits, you know what I mean? Every twist and turn that could go wrong goes wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. You leave someone at the hotel, very Home Alone. But this is what this reminds me of.
Is the follow-up film to this Home Alone 2? Because...
But that's what this felt like to me. Just when you're like, it's just you guys. You're like, just your family. You can't like go hang out with your friends. Just singularly isolated on vacation.
Yeah.
I do feel like, and that's when you pick fights with your siblings for no reason. That's when you're like, yeah, I am a witch. I'm gonna fucking kill you. And they're like screaming and crying, and you're like, ha ha, go tell mom. I don't give a shit.
I'm already sleeping on the cot.
Right. What else could you do to me? We used to have glass windows.
Yeah, no, this also reminded me of like, just like oh god, I just need to get through this week.
Yeah.
I just need to kill every man in my family and then also my mom. And then it'll be
I did like how it ended with like a girls showdown.
Well, like at that point, like it had to be done.
100%. Like what else is gonna happen?
Yeah. I mean, there's no coming back, essentially. And the fact that her mom now has also had this kind of like vision of her dead children. She like already thinks like, oh, something is happening. It'll get better, like whatever. But Thomason is still like the root cause of everything in her mind. So it's like, what else can you do other than defend yourself, essentially, by that point?
I gotta say though, when they lock her and the two twins in that little thing with the goats or whatever, he nails those boards in. They do not look sturdy.
No.
He's like half-ass nailing these with the back of his hatchet or whatever. I'm like, I don't know, Anya. If you could get the goats in on it, I really think they could have busted that down.
Oh, yeah.
the strength of like 2 6-year-olds and a prepubescent teenager, I think they could have busted.
You could use
through.
Mercy as a fucking battering ram.
She's earned it.
Yes. I mean, even if you're using your puritanical brain, you could probably rile up Black Phillip to just like bust through that wood, you know? Like,
someone might get gored in the process, but you know what?
I mean,
you win some, you lose some.
What do you can't have it all. Can't have everything.
I do want to say, so her name is Thomason in this, and I love that name for a girl. Thomason Mackenzie is like an actress right now, and I remember seeing her with that name and being like, wow, what an interesting and beautiful name. And then her in this, and I'm like, people are always like, let's bring back old names for babies. Let's name our babies Gertrude and Edith, which is like, okay, fine, but like, let's bring back Thomason. Yeah. Let's bring that back into the mix with all the Ethels and the Rosemarys that are getting born these days.
Oh yeah,
petition to bring back Thomason as a name for. As a classy old lady name for babies.
If you see it on the 2022 top list of baby names, you'll know where this originated.
100%. This is the moment right here.
But also then if your baby starts to act a little spooky, don't come crying to me.
That's a personal problem.
If you name your baby Thomason and then also buy a black goat, I mean, you're doomed. Sorry, there's nothing we can do for you.
Yeah, no, nothing. That's a personal problem. One of my favorite things in this movie was just honestly, and Becky, have you seen The Lighthouse? I'm assuming you have.
I've seen like bits and pieces, but I haven't had the time to like fully sit down and watch it. I've heard amazing things about it. Crushing. I just haven't had the time to like devote to it.
Crushing. But no, one thing that I did pick up this watch was sort of that end scene with Anya, and she's just floating into the sky and like laughing and everything and going a little crazy. I'm like, oh my god, good for you. But it's very much like the exact same, like almost the same ending frame as The Lighthouse. Dara Dino and like Robert Pattinson just sitting there staring into the light, all that shit. Very like Telltale, maybe not Telltale, but like very Robert Eggers. And I'm hoping honestly that like they have another sort of moment like that in
The Northman. It's gonna be horny. I am so excited. It's gonna be hot Alexander Skarsgård as a freaking Viking. Yes. Ooh. I'm so here for it. I hate the movie poster they just put out though. It's like, looks very like Marvel, like with all the characters stacked in like a pyramid formation in the center. I'm like, you can do better than this. But I'm very excited. Anya Taylor-Joy too. She's gonna be in that one. It's just gonna it's like about like unhinged Vikings. Yeah. Like yes,
right.
It feels
Ethan
so
Hawke,
right.
Willem Dafoe, Bjork is in it.
Bjork.
I can't wait. It's gonna be a lot of. I feel like it's gonna be on the same wave of like how I kind of understand like the dialogue in this, but it's a little too old English. Like I'm gonna kind of get it, but I'm also just gonna be like really turned on, so it's gonna be fine.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody's gonna be wearing a shirt, and I'm.
Yeah. Thank God. It's ideal.
I mean, I think what he's doing, like, with the cinematography in those movies, I think is so fun. And A24 has kind of, like, adopted this vibe of, like, slow, so, like, psychological, minimal violence, like, good for her kind of movies by the end of it. And I mean, I love the fact that in this movie there are several times when it's just a character facing the camera and speaking. I find that so just like interesting to watch. And like the last scene where she's talking to Black Phillip is probably my favorite part because of that, because it leaves me wanting to know more. You're like trying to like move your body to like see more of the camera because it's only giving you like this little bit of time. And I just love that, just like overall. So
yeah, no, I did love that shot with Anya when she's playing peekaboo with the baby. It's just a tight frame on her face, and then it's just, baby's gone. Which, mind you, how fast does that witch have to be? Dude, I just know.
She's Naruto running, just with the baby, like, clipped onto a carabiner.
Because, like, you see, like, the next shot is, like, rustling in the woods, like, implying that someone just ran through that. Like, I know that bitch was at the track for months in advance. She saw this family move in, and she's like, oh, God, I gotta get my endurance up. She's like a cheetah.
When they're like, it must have been a wolf. I'm like, if I was Anya Taylor-Joy, I would have been like, it must have been some wolf. We were in an open field.
Yeah.
Like, literally worst babysitter of the year, Thomason. Like, after the incident with the baby, honestly, I would have, if the parents were like, you gotta get out of here. Yeah. Well, they're like, we gotta sell you off, because, like, this is trouble. But they're like, you gotta go be someone's wife and mother. Like, dude, she lost the baby. Right. Like, let's give it some time.
No, I would have bounced after that, honestly. I feel like I couldn't deal with it. I was like, the vibes in this house, I can't be here. I will leave. I'll just become a witch then. No one else has to die. Yeah, right. Let me just go find the coven.
I also, if I lost a baby like that, I would just end it. I wouldn't have even returned home. I would have been like, we just both went
right. Well, and it's like, how do you explain that? And on top of it, it's like, maybe her eyes were closed for like 30 seconds and that witch was like, boom, let's go. But like, I mean, how do you justify that with your parents? Be like, I closed my eyes for literally a second and then the baby was gone and I don't know what happened. Like, what do you do with that information?
It's like when you have bad news to share with your parents when you're a kid and you like, hey, how's it going? How's everyone's day been? Oh my god, Mom, you look so nice today. Also, I did lose the baby. What's for dinner? Like,
just trying to pad it the entire time.
Or like telling them that you got in trouble at school. It was very like, oh, how was your day at work? Like, I've never asked that before, but you gotta pad it for what's coming. Like, yeah, I did bite someone today. Got sent to the office.
Don't be mad, but I did lose a baby. It was bad, and I'm gonna go up to my room now. Thank you.
Exactly.
Speaking of my mom, do we want to add her to this
Yes,
call?
please. Let's get Jen on the line. Speaking of my mom. Jen, I do love the wall of hats that you have behind you. I like that it's not just the baseball hats, it's the beanies as well.
Wait, speaking of beanies, though, the beanie that freaking Caleb wears in this movie, I'm like, historical accuracy for costuming, but this beanie's from an Urban Outfitters. Like,
they just ripped the Carhartt logo off of it.
It's just
they just tucked it. It's just inside out.
Switched it to the back so you can't see it. Yeah, for sure.
They're like, oh, the seams would show. So yeah.
So we're here as always with my mother, Jen. We had a pretty seamless transition into chocolate or vanilla this week. We were just talking about like when you awkwardly have to tell your parents that you got in trouble at school. We usually don't have like such nice parental themes to segue into your appearance, but Jen is my mom, and she hosts a game halfway through the show, chocolate or vanilla. She just says two things, and we all say which one we like better. It's stunning. Is there a theme this week, Jen?
There is a theme, but I'm going to say I don't really remember you getting in trouble at school.
No, but it's just like a universal thing.
Yeah. There was some trouble, but it was never you.
Well, like, I always felt I had such Catholic guilt that, like, even if I was, like, next to someone who got in trouble, I was like, I have to own up.
I'm sorry, is there a theme? Yes, there is a theme. So, like, you know how your movie is double V for witch?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Which I read, I guess they didn't use the W very often in 1630, so that's how they would write a W?
Yeah, I read though that like the historical so basically the reasoning is like, oh, the W wasn't invented yet, so we put two V's next to each other, but that was like way older than this. And they put the V's so close to each other that they did touch, and it just made W its own letter. So like them doing that is totally a stylistic thing. It is not rooted in a ton of historical accuracy. Like they were just trying to be quirky with the VV.
Well, my theme is things that begin with V versus things that begin with W.
Oh, okay.
All right. All right, you guys ready?
Yes.
All right. So, chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Vanilla.
Vanilla.
Chocolate. Chocolate, vanilla, or strawberry?
Chocolate.
I'm gonna say strawberry this week.
I'm gonna stick with vanilla for sure.
I'll go chocolate. All right, ready? Vodka or wine?
Ooh, those are my two faves. I'll go with wine though. More consistently a wine girl.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say wine. If you said tequila, I might have to change that. But vodka's not my clear liquor of choice.
Tequila does not start with a V, Emily.
Yeah, I understand.
It's vodka, just in case.
Henry would pick tequila every time. Right?
Yes, he would.
I go with wine because I got messed up on vodka one time, so no, I'm done. Just wine.
Calling it quits.
I'll pick mine too. Doesn't everyone have that one alcohol though that was like a bad experience? Yeah. Mine was Sambuca.
Yeah. How classy is you, Jen?
Yeah, right. Mine's the menthol McGillicuddies.
Okay, the next one is the song Valerie by Amy Winehouse or the song Wonderwall by Oasis.
Valerie by Amy Winehouse. The song Wonderwall is like a curse on society.
Yeah, no, Valerie is a fucking staple. So Valerie.
Yeah, I agree. Valerie, I'm a huge Amy Winehouse fan, so it's gotta be that one. Any of the versions.
Yeah, exactly. That song is awesome. So I'm gonna say Valerie also. Next one, Venus Williams or Will Smith.
Oh my God, Jen, are you trying to be topical right now?
Yes,
no.
I am.
No, the swamp refuses to comment at this time. I'm gonna pick Venus Williams though.
I'm also gonna select Venus.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Venus. I'm gonna go with Venus too.
Yeah. Thank God nobody picked anybody but Venus on that one.
As the only person who anyone knows who watches the Oscars, everyone was like, Dara, what's your take? And I'm like, why am I like suddenly the source of information? Like the next morning, everyone was texting me about it. I'm like, just go read a news article. I have no input. I just happened to watch the Oscars. Like,
all right. Next is the state of Vermont or Washington State.
I've never been to Washington State, so I guess I'll state the state of Vermont. My favorite thing about Vermont is that their state government has a rule that they can't have billboards because they think billboards are ugly, and they're like, part of our state's appeal is that it's so beautiful here, so fuck billboards. So you'll not see a billboard in Vermont. Fun fact.
I like that. Huh. I'm also gonna go with Vermont. I feel like I find myself there like maybe once a year, and I love a good country store.
I am torn because I know I've never been to either, but my girlfriend loves Vermont. But Washington State does have forks in it, and I read Twilight as a kid, so I might have to go with Washington State on this one.
That's a super valid reasoning, honestly. Now you've got me questioning my answer. If Twilight's on the line here.
Oh, and Seattle, because I'm a huge Nirvana fan, so obviously.
I will go with Vermont because I've never been to Washington State, but I get you though. Well, perfect segue. Next one, the obvious V versus W, vampires versus werewolves.
Yes.
We've unpacked this time and time before, and I'm a Jacob girl, but I just think as an adult stepping back, I'm gonna pick the vampires. More camp, more drama.
Yeah, no, I do like the vampire flair, which I feel like carries over across all vampire media and everything like that. Werewolves are just a little too, animalistic, obviously. There's no flair there. There's no style. There's no fashion. You're a dog. So I'll go with vampires.
I agree. I mean, I think my favorite werewolves are the ones in Underworld because they're a little bit more, I don't know, smarter, I feel like, than werewolves are represented. But vampires overall, they have dark castles. They've got millions of dollars in the bank from living forever. I'm here for it. The drama, the blood. I'm here for it.
Okay, girls, I'm going to go against you guys and stay Team Jacob. I'm going to go with werewolves.
Right. Although we were a Jacob household growing up. We were a unified front against the world.
It's a clear good versus evil kind of discussion. I did see the Batman, the new Batman last night. It was good. He was good. Yeah. Did you guys all see it?
Hot take from you, Jen. I liked it. I love Paul Dano.
Oh, he was creepy.
Everyone is like thirsting over Paul Dano now, and I'm like, that's the role that broke the camel's back. Like, this is the role that's gonna get you all on Team Paul Dano. Like, weird choice, but okay.
There was like, I've been here for years.
Yeah. Get on my level, jeez. Y'all are fake. Y'all are fake fans.
All right, next one is Ace Ventura versus Willy Wonka.
Ooh. The classic showdown. I'll go with Willy Wonka. I've been getting pretty hyped up for this Timothée Chalamet Willy Wonka that's been filming. We had a listener actually who they were filming it like in their hometown. They like sent us some sneaky pics. It was I was like, wow. I'm like, did you see Timmy? And they were like, no, but we like saw the set, which is pretty cool.
That's really
I'll
cool.
I'll go with Willy Wonka.
Yeah, Willy Wonka for sure. He's such a diva.
I think I would also do Willy Wonka, specifically the Gene Wilder Willy Wonka is like chef's kiss, just wonderful.
That somersault.
Oh,
hot.
forget about it.
I agree. The OG Willy Wonka for sure. Next one is the Van store or Walmart.
I go to school with a girl who's from the town where Walmart like originated, and she said that their Walmart there is like it's like the holy grail of Walmarts, and that it's like 6 floors and like it's crazy. But I guess I'll pick the Vans store because as far as I know, Vans doesn't donate to like horrible like oil fracking and like homophobic organizations, which Walmart's like not super hot about that. So I guess I'll go with the Vans store.
Yeah, I'll also run it with the Vans store as a staunch Vans wearer and a certified Walmart hater for sure. Gotta go with the Vans store.
Do you have Vans? Do you have Vans on right now?
I have socks on, but it's no Vans. But there's just a wall of them behind me, basically. But
no arch support.
No,
you
nothing.
have flat feet.
Oh yeah, 100%. But Walmart is my personal hellscape, so yeah, easy choice for me today.
Ooh, I was gonna say Walmart, but now you bring up a great point about their business practices, so I think I'm gonna have to go with Vans.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Vans for the sweep. Next one is veggie lo mein or wonton soup.
Veggie lo mein. I fuck heavy with a lo mein noodle.
Yeah, veggie lo mein's one of those ones. If I'm getting Chinese food, veggie lo mein's on my list.
I think I'm going to go with a wonton soup, but I think it's because I'm transitioning from cold weather to warm weather, and so I'm still in that like, soup sounds good.
Yeah, me and my coworker were just saying how sometimes you get in like soup mode.
Yes.
And I'm going to go with you too, a wonton soup. I don't know how they keep the wontons crispy in the soup. They're never soggy. They're always crispy on the top.
It is a...
Oh, so good. Next one is velour tracksuit or wool socks.
Velour tracksuit every time on this show when it's appropriate to bring up a tracksuit. I want to get puke green velour tracksuits that say swamp across the ass for the members of this team and for the public. I don't know how to make it happen, but I want it more than anything. Rhinestone, the swamp across the ass cheeks of a green velour tracksuit. Literally, that's my dream.
Yeah, Dara said it all. I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting for my tracksuit in the mail one day. You're not gonna tell anyone. It's just gonna show up on everyone's doorstep. So definitely the tracksuit.
I love the idea of the tracksuit. I think you should definitely pursue that because I want one. But my feet are always cold, so I'm going to go with wool socks.
Nice. I will go with the velour tracksuit also. I like the image for sure.
Yeah.
Next one is the show The Vampire Diaries or the show The Walking Dead.
I have only ever seen parts of The Vampire Diaries through, like, friends who tried to bully me into watching it, and I've never seen The Walking Dead, so I guess I'll say Vampire Diaries, because I guess I'm just here for that, like... Or wait, is it Teen Wolf, maybe, that I... Honestly, all those shows are just the same to me, so I'll pick The Walking Dead.
Yeah, I'll also pick The Walking Dead. I definitely watched, like, the first, like, handful of seasons, and then just, like, stopped, because it's the same show over and over. But it was good. First couple of seasons were decent.
I will also probably pick The Walking Dead only because I have actually seen all of the Vampire Diaries and it's trash. It's something you put on in the background just to have fun. And so I think critically, which one is better? I think I'd say Walking Dead.
Yeah, I guess I'll say Walking Dead also because I've never watched either show, but people I know who like Walking Dead like the same shows that I do. But is Vampire Diaries if you like Gossip Girl and One Tree Hill, are you gonna like Vampire Diaries or no?
It's like a stereotypical CW show, which don't get me wrong, it's fun because it's always what kind of trouble is Elena and the vampires going to get into this time. That's the whole show. And it's fun. It's just not it's not amazing.
I still think I should put it on my queue.
For sure.
Okay. here come the three, two in a row of the triples. So for the V triple, I got Viola Davis, Vin Diesel, or Victoria Justice.
I just think there's an objective right answer here, and it's Viola Davis.
yeah, Viola Davis for sure. I'm really excited for that new
Michelle Obama.
the Michelle Obama role she's doing. So
I will also say Viola Davis. I think she is absolutely stunning.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know she was going to play Michelle Obama. Is that coming up soon?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure she's going to kill it. But I think the obvious answer here is Victoria Justice. Victorious? Remember how good that was?
As far as trashy TV, How to Get Away with Murder, that's one of my guilty pleasure shows.
So for the W triple, I got walnuts, waffles, or white rice.
Waffles.
Yeah, for sure, waffles.
It's like the two most boring foods against one of the most fun
First
foods.
of all, I love a good walnut. First of all. But I will also say waffles because I don't have them very often, and that sounds really good right now. I'm getting hungry.
Right? It's a sweet treat.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with waffles for the sweep. And Dara's brother just came in. Ryan, what food do you like better, walnuts, waffles, or white rice?
White rice.
I knew you were going to say white rice. That's a staple. All right, let's see. Next one is Vanessa Hudgens or Winona Ryder.
Winona Ryder.
Oh, yeah, it's got to be Winona.
Yeah. Because I was going to say Vanessa Hudgens and Tick, Tick, Boom was pretty great. But Winona Ryder overall.
Vanessa Hudgens, didn't she at the beginning of the pandemic? She was like, so what if some people die?
Oh, man, was that her?
She was like, yeah, I think so. She was like, why do we all have to stay home? Like, so what? Some people are gonna die. That's just how it is. And everyone was like, oh, girl, no.
I'm gonna go with Winona Ryder. Oh, next one. I'm sorry. Vincent Van Gogh or William Shakespeare.
Vincent Van Gogh. Isn't it like there's like a whole thing like William Shakespeare like wasn't a real guy or something? I don't know. It seems sus. Like he didn't actually write anything. It was like a group of people. I don't really know. I don't really buy it.
His ghostwriters. No, I'll also go with Van Gogh.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Shakespeare. I'm a huge Shakespeare buff, and like I don't care if he actually wrote the plays because I just love them. And I actually have a Shakespeare tattoo, so I feel obligated.
Is it a quote or is it like a picture of him?
It's a quote. It says "All the world's a stage," and it's on my foot because I used to want to be an actress long ago.
I love that.
I'm with you. I'm gonna go with Shakespeare for sure. Last one is Violet Parr from The Incredibles or WALL-E.
I remember despising the movie WALL-E when it came out. I remember being like, this is the worst shit I've ever seen. And I don't think I've ever returned back to it. So I also hated Ratatouille when I first saw it, and I totally like rescind that opinion wholeheartedly. So maybe I should give WALL-E like a second try or something. But I am always pro Incredibles, so I'll go with Violet Parr.
Yeah, I'm also gonna have to jump on the Violet wave.
I do love The Incredibles, and I love Violet, but I'm going to go with Wally because I think he's just so freaking cute. Cute.
Nice. I'm going to go with Violet for sure. Incredibles. Shout out. So that was it, though, for V versus W, chocolate or vanilla.
The VVitch or the witch, it's up for you to decide. But thank you, as always, Jen, for these intriguing questions. I always say I'm going to post them. I never do, but maybe I'll post them. Keep your eyes out on our Instagram. Maybe I won't be lazy this time. But yeah, thank you so much. We love you and we appreciate you.
Thank you guys. I love you guys too.
Yay!
Okay, bye.
So I don't know if you could hear my cats being fucking nuisances in the background.
Not at all.
Then, but when I was watching this movie, so recently I have 2 black cats and their names are Winston and Bean, and Winston has just learned that he can like jump up onto the counters, like the kitchen counters, and like he knows his strength of what he can and can't knock over. Like he's just getting into that like rebellious teenage cat phase where he's like, yeah, I'm gonna push everything onto the floor. But so he was doing this while we were watching the movie, and I was like, okay, Black Black Winston, and now Henry and I cannot stop calling him Black Winston, like Black Phillip, Black Winston. Because I'm like, sometimes you're just the devil.
Oh my god, he just starts speaking to you.
I was gonna say, if he starts like telling you things, that's when you need to be concerned.
Do you want butter?
Wouldst thou? If he starts speaking in like old ass English, I think that would kind of suit him, to be
Wouldst
honest.
thou like to live perfectly?
Yeah, right. He seems like Old English. Bean seems like a Valley girl.
Yeah, oh my god, right. She's like, okay, sure. Bean, we have this backstory that she, like, is a hairdresser at LaGuardia Airport. I don't know where this came from, but it's like she cuts hair, but, like, at LaGuardia. And we just come up with, like, I don't know, stories about how her day went. But Winston, we can't seem to peg a career for him. And, like, I feel like host body for Satan might be it.
Fair enough, yeah.
I love that.
That's so funny. Oh my god. I'd let Bean cut my hair.
Yeah. But my favorite lines in this movie are both from the mom. So when she says, your corn, or what'd she say? Our corn is trash. Yes! When they're speaking like in Old English, and then she's like slinging insults, and she's like, your corn is trash. Your farming ability is trash. I was like, yes, Catherine, pop off. And then she also, at one point, she says, you are false. So, like, you are false. Your corn is trash. Next time I have to read a bitch, I'm going to be like, you're false. First off. Second off, your corn is trash.
Who needs your fake anymore? It's just you're false.
Exactly.
You're trash.
Just cuts a little deeper.
A little bit.
These bitches false.
Yeah, no, good for her for calling him on his shit. Same with Thomason. Like, when he's sitting there, and it's like, he takes her out to the tree after her little brothers died and everything like that, and she's like, whoa, you're about to, like, put me down like a fucking dog.
Right.
You're about to sell me off. And she starts fighting him.
She's like, I know you took the cup.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Call him out.
Yes.
Good. As you should. Yeah.
Good for her.
I was like, he's not so godly, even though the Jesus imagery with him in this was so crazy. When he was chopping wood in nothing but a fucking white towel around his waist.
Yeah, I was like, what is this toga party moment? Like, put on some pants. Like, I'm sure laundry is, like, kind of difficult to do. Like, it's probably a bit of a process. Like, you getting dirt all over these white sheets.
Right?
Make it work for Catherine.
Right? Probably just easier to do it naked, honestly.
Lately, for some reason, my TikTok algorithm has been giving me a lot of, like, horny wood chopping videos of, like, super ripped guys.
I know the type.
Like, going, like finding these huge logs and ripping them with their hands. So I feel like my phone's definitely listening right now. I'm gonna get served up. My whole feed is just gonna be sexy woodsman wood chopping videos.
Yes. I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't say wood chopping does something, for sure. I have seen my fiance chop wood in, like, a funny, like, we just demolished a kitchen and we need to chop something up kind of way, but it had an axe, and I was like, this is doing something hot. And I don't know what it is.
The masculine urge to chop wood, the masculine urge to grow, to start a farm, to abandon the community and to chop wood.
That's why men punch holes in walls now. Like, college boys punch holes in walls because they're not outside chopping wood.
They don't have any wood to chop.
Exactly.
I will say, though, I have chopped wood, and it is difficult. But my girlfriends have seen me chop wood, and they're like, this does something, too. I am a straight woman. You need to stop. And I'm like, okay.
Maybe I need a new hobby.
I know. Chopping wood, apparently, is where it's at.
I'm just going to start posting.
It's like, you know.
Maybe, you just see me on TikTok. I'm just posting wood chopping thirst traps.
Right, I was going to say, like, how it's like guys hold the fish in the Tinder profiles. Like, no. Show me the wood you've chopped, please. Like, that needs to be your first pick on
show me your
dating apps.
Show me your wood pile.
Yeah.
Is it taller?
Is it tall enough to squish you?
Yeah. Green flag.
Yes.
Just like an arm sticking out underneath the wood pile. Like, yeah.
100%.
So do we want to get into our regularly scheduled programming? We can start off with Fuck, Marry, Kill. I think the obvious here are the two parents and then the witch, but do we want to get Black Phillip in here somewhere?
I think we have to.
He's a human for a second. He's a human for a hot second. So he's a sexy man, and he is offering butter. So I would like to take that into consideration.
I mean, I feel like we usually like, if it's a case like this where there's only 4 people, we'll like throw in like an extra like category, like fuck, marry, kill, have a beer with, or some shit like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Fuck, marry, kill, go to church.
Fuck, marry, kill, break the sacrament with.
I'm definitely gonna, if I have to go to church, I'm gonna do it with William, I think. Cause I don't know,
cause he's popping off.
He's popping off. He's gonna do a good sermon, you know. And plus, I'm like, yeah, he's got those wood cutting abs and all that shit. But there's just something about that witch and Black Phillip. So obviously, I'm gonna have to kill. What's her name? Catherine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I gotta kill Catherine. She's a little too unhinged for me. Kids aren't my thing either. Like, I can't. No. So I'm gonna marry the witch, and we're just gonna live our little cottagecore life together. I will not. Yeah, I won't be there for that. She'll have to let me know when that's happening, and I'll have to go. I'm like, sorry, babe. I love and support you, but I can't. That's just one of my things. It's not for me. Just let me know when it's over, all right? Can you just give me a call, and I'll come back. I'll go forage us some food. But so yeah, and then obviously I'm gonna fuck Black Phillip. Because I didn't see him in the movie, and you guys were talking earlier about how you're like, oh yeah, no, he shows up. For some reason, I missed that, but I looked up the actor. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him cut
Sexy.
wood.
Oh. Yeah. Petition to see what Black Phillip's got in the woodcutting department. Similarly, I am going to kill the mom. I'm going to go to church with the dad because he's like popping off. He's like arguing with the pastors. He's like, no, we need to be more holy. And I want to be there. I want to be the Anya Taylor-Joy, like rolling my eyes, like, God, Dad, can't we just stay in the village? But I'm gonna marry Black Phillip because dresses, butter, he's gonna provide. And I wanna hang out with all the floating witches, like, for the rest of my days. Seems like a win. And then I'm gonna fuck the witch, but I want the yassified version, like the old with the crinkly hands, like, not for me. But if she has to mash a few babies to get hot before we fuck, that's
that's how I assumed. I assumed we were talking about the yassified version. Okay.
Yeah. So I think I would also kill Catherine. She's a little too extreme for me. And then I think I would also marry Black Phillip because he will provide. He has made that abundantly clear.
Yeah. He's going to teach you how to read.
He's going to teach me how to read and sign my name and float. So I'm here for it. And then I think I would sleep with the dad only because I want to take the witch to church and see what happens.
A little experiment.
So true. Plus, he's got the Jesus vibes and the abs, so, like, I can handle that. That's fine. Like, maybe a one-night thing. Who knows?
Yeah.
And then, so you were flexing that you have some pretty fire food and drink suggestions, which mine are just okay. So what, Emily, what have you got as far as what would you eat and drink with this film? You're hosting a VVitch soiree. What are we as guests?
So originally I was trying to really, like, think of something with corn and everything like that, and I thought street corn and stuff, but I was like, no, it's just not quite the vibe. But instead I was like, okay, what other, like, food is there really in this besides, like, fucking rabbit meat? Not doing that. But there's like this whole little stint where the kid's like, oh, we're going to pick apples. They couldn't get apples, but you can get apples. You go to your local Whole Foods, you get some apples, you make a little apple crumble, and then you have a hot toddy with it.
A hot toddy. I have a candle in my house that's supposed to smell like a hot toddy, and I bought it because I was like, what the fuck does that mean? And I brought it home, and Henry was like, yeah, it's a drink. And I'm like, well, It's just got a funny name. But I would not want to be eating apples when fucking Caleb has to get his jaw unhinged so he can spit up his apple. The last thing I want to be eating is an apple. I'd be like,
that sounds like a personal problem.
I love the shrug, like, whatever.
I was also thinking some sort of like hot like mulled cider would feel kind of nice for this. If you do something with like mulled wine or like rum or something, I feel like that could be good. But I found this cocktail. So I think I've said this in the past as far as like spooky movies using activated charcoal in your drink as a thing to like make it like pitch black. And so I found, usually we just like say the name of a vague cocktail, but I actually found a recipe for y'all this week. It's called Death in Paradise. And you use activated charcoal, passion fruit syrup, which is my favorite addition to any cocktail, white tea, vodka, and then they have grapefruit juice, but I'm gonna sub it out with apple juice for the purposes of this film, right? If we're getting like holy with it. Also, pomegranate juice is in here. I don't know where you can find that. It sounds really fancy. And then 2 basil leaves.
That sounds good.
Sounds pretty fire to me.
Does.
What are you eating with that?
Oatmeal.
You just came out here
this movie screamed oatmeal to me. Just like unseasoned, just like not even brown cinnamon sugar. No, just like plain oatmeal.
Not even like an overnight oat.
Nope. Straight Quaker, like from the packet, microwaved. You can't even use milk. You have to use water.
This is like that's like the fanciest drink we've had like put on here for a while, and then you just tilted the scale the other way and said oatmeal.
Oh my god. It makes the same noise as the baby scene for sure.
Oh. Yeah, you said guacamole earlier. If I'm gonna eat some guac while this baby's getting mashed, that could be pretty fucked up.
Like roast some street corn and then like some guac.
What about you, Becky?
So you had said, if you were hosting like a dinner party, and my mind went wild, and I was like, oh my gosh, because I love hosting people. I love cooking for people. So I'm like, if it's a themed party, what is it going to look like? What am I going to do? And I think I settled on like a hot mulled wine with like some kind of like a boiling pot of herbs for the wine, like just something really spicy. And I'm thinking, I went back and forth between like some kind of like meat pie or like a chicken pot pie or something. And I think I'm going to do chicken pot pie just because I like it better. But like lots of like peas, carrots, onions, like hearty food to make it through the winter.
Some Puritan ass. Yeah. I'm surprised none of us had goat, like a leg of goat. Yeah. I don't know where you can find that. I don't know if that's something you can get at the grocery store, but like to eat a goat during this movie would be kind of fire. And then what would you follow this up with? Mine's pretty lame, but just because her name is Thomasin. And then Anya Taylor-Joy was also in Last Night in Soho with Thomas and Mackenzie, but I didn't like that movie. But what movie was Thomas and Mackenzie in that I did like? Which is Leave No Trace.
Okay.
So, little like name connection thing. And also that movie is like also about like a family that gets like isn't a part of a community, is trying to figure out like how to live off of the land type of, I don't know, there's something there. So that's my follow-up pick.
I decided to go with I'm Thinking of Ending.
Home Alone 2.
That one. Sure. How'd you know? No, I went with I'm Thinking of Ending Things. Just because it's a bit of a thinker, and it's not quite a horror movie, but it is definitely a little bizarre.
Uncomfortable.
Yes, for sure.
That movie made me so uncomfortable I couldn't finish it. I was like, this is making me feel very awkward.
So I was thinking in terms of because I watch it around Halloween usually, just to like get me into the vibe of Halloween. So I decided to follow it up with The Witches, which is another movie that I watch every year for Halloween.
Yes.
I love Neve Campbell, and I love Fazula Banks. The lead in that. Yeah, Nancy in that movie. But I always butcher her name, and it's so terrible, but I love her too. And I figure like The Witches, and then you just do a whole movie like next is Witches of Eastwick and some other witch movie after that, like
just more and more witches every time.
Just more witches.
Yeah. What is it? Every time they say witch, it gets faster. But it's like every time they say witch, there's more witches. And then what would you rate this out of 10? I'm gonna give it like a 7.
Yeah, I also said 7.
I also said 7, only because I wish there was a little bit more going on. It's a very static movie, which, like, artistically I appreciate, but narratively I kind of wish there was a little bit more. Yeah.
It's the gray for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can appreciate some, like, discordant violin music, but at a certain point when, like, nothing is happening except, like, people are, like, harvesting dead corn for 45 minutes with discordant, like, cellos. Yeah. I'm like, I get it. I get it. Something's gonna happen.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's like I could have used slightly less orchestral women's crying throughout the whole thing.
And I could have used more human Black Phillip. Like, let's dedicate some time to that, please.
Where's his prequel movie?
Yeah. The Gogh. But so this has been, obviously links to everything in the description to Scopophilia. If you haven't already listened to our episode about The Favorite, it was super fun. And also just go subscribe, because awesome podcasts about movies by awesome ladies. Yes. Supporting. We love having guests who are like equally as excited to talk about movies as we are, so it was such a pleasure to have you kicking off A24 April. I didn't even know this was an A24 movie. When you're like, let's do The Vitch, I'm like, I don't think that's an A24 movie, but I don't give a shit. And I turned it on, I was like, oh, it is! I was like, oh, okay. Because usually we're like, we don't give a shit if you stay on theme or not, because we play kind of fast and loose with it. But A24 April, we'll be doing some more artsy bullshit for the rest of this month, which we know y'all love that shit, so stay tuned. And also, if you have suggestions, feel free to DM us with what you want to hear us talk about, or chocolate or vanilla things. Jen's been doing a lot of, like, letter things lately. Let's switch it up. And give us some suggestions for that. Also, keep your eyes out for our Instagram. Maybe I'll post them, maybe I won't. I probably won't, but we'll see. And I'm trying to think of, like, what's another... I don't want to get too, like, religious with it. Like, please do go be sinners, because then maybe a goat will offer you some butter, so...
A goat will appear to you and say, I'll provide your life for you. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, let us know. Would you like to live deliciously? Because I would. So goodbye and good night, and we love you all.